TX.
And welcome to another video. Right, today I'm going to show you how to program in a radio, Edge TX radio like this TX15 to any Flywing helicopter, be it a scale model or an FW450, anything like that. The first thing that we need to check is that you're running up-to-date firmware. So press your system key. If we press a system key and then we go over to the information tab, you can see what version of Edge TX you have. You can see I'm running 2.12.0. Anything like that or above and your screen is going to look exactly the same as mine and you won't have any issues with your setup. So if we return to that, and if I press system again and go into the Express ELRS menu, you can see down at the bottom I'm running version 4.0.1. Anything above 4.0, and you're also going to be able to use some of the same features that I'm going to show you in this programming. So we'll get straight to the beginning, and what we will do is we will start from pressing your model button. So if we press the model button and select new, and when we select new, we go to new model, blank model, and press model again. Then we can go into the name and we can name it whatever we want. Just for ease, I'll just name this FW for Flywing, and that's all we need to do there, and return that. The next thing we need is this internal RF. Now you might have an external ELRS module or internal. Mine's internal, so I'll select that. We want to activate it, CRSF. And this here is one of the new features from ELRS 4.0 and above. We can now move the arming away from channel 5 onto a switch, which is where we need to be with this. So, and then we need to select which switch we're going to do it to. So we want to select this switch to whatever we use motor run. I'm using this switch here for motor run. So I'll put it into my arm position. For me, that's arm. And, oh, sorry. Go back to that. Press the wrong button, excuse me. So as you can see, when I'm in armed, that's my armed SE up. So I'll just confirm that, and it says SE up. So, and that's that one done. So if we return from there, and the only other thing we can do in here, if you want to turn off all your pre-warnings, the ones they might irritate you like they do me, but if you want them, keep them. If you want to turn off all the alerts when you turn on your radio because your switch is in the wrong position, just grey all these out, and then you won't get the silly warnings. And there's that done. By all means, if you want your warnings, keep them. I'm just showing you how to take them off should you want to. So the next page we can go back to flight modes in a moment. We go to mixes. And this is where we add extra channels. The first one to add is channel 5. Channel 5 is going to be for our flight modes. So I'll just name that one FM for the moment. And then we need to select the source. And as you know, my flight modes, I'm going to be using this switch here. We go back to the screen. You can see it's automatically detected switch C. So let's select switch C. The only problem with flight modes is the switch is actually reversed. If I zoom out, look at the bars, they are actually the wrong way around because we need this switch to be 2000, 1500 and 1000 at the bottom. But on this screen, it is the wrong way around. So to rectify this, go to your weight and put it on -100, and you can see the bars moving up there, which is where we want them. And you can now see I'm at 2000, 1500 and 1000. It says 988. Don't worry about that discrepancy. It's fine. As long as your throws say -100 and +100, we're good to go. So that's that set up exactly how it should be. If we return from that one, from flight modes, let's add our next channel. The next one we want to add is channel 7. We're not using 6. It will be for retracts on the Airwolf, but it's not out as of yet. So instead, we'll just go straight to 7, and we will program in our, it's ARM. That's your motor run stop channel 7. So if we just call that one ARM for the moment, and then we want to put the switch on. And as you know, my motor arm is this switch, and armed is fully forward. So if we come down to there, you can see it's found switch E. We'll select that and confirm it. If we just move switch E, you can see it's moving as it should. And now on to the next one. The next one we want to do is channel 8. Channel 8 is going to be our rates, and rates is the soft, normal and sports. We got 3 different modes there, so we call that rates. And again, on the switches, this is going to be my rates switch, and it has detected it as switch B. So we'll select switch B and press return. Now the last channel we want to set up is channel 9. And the only difference here is it's exactly the same, but if you're running a scale like I'm setting up here, channel 9 is going to be coordinated turn. If you're setting up an FW450, you're just going to put return to home in there instead. And I will flick my switch. My switch is switch D for my coordinated turn. And as you can see again, switch D. If I select that and that's done, I flick switch D, as you can see, it's all operating as it should. So if we come back out of there, now that screen is all done. Now we can go back to, if we go back to flight modes, now you don't have to do this, but it gives us a little bit of extra information on the screen. So if we do our first flight mode, which is the switch in the top position, again, this is scale. So for me, it's going to be RTH, or it's going to be GPS for FW450. And then you just return out of that screen and come down again. When you go this flight mode here, that's your switch in the middle position. Again, for me, that's going to be, it's GPS. If you got FW450, you're going to put in ATT. And again, that's going to be switch C in the middle. It's detected it, select it, confirm. And then that's that one done. And then if we go into the final one, which will be your switch in the bottom position. And again, for me, it's going to be ATT because I'm on scale. If you're FW450, it's going to be acro or easy acro. So switch down, it's that one, select that. And now we've done that. And that's that all done. And again, you don't have to do that, but this is why. If you do it, you get this down at the bottom of your screen. So I've got, because it's scale, return to home, GPS, and ATI. So that covers that. So if we go back into model, all of that is done now. Our channels are set up. They are set up. The only thing we need to do now is go and discover our sensors, because we're going to need them for later. So let's discover our sensors. And there you go. It's got all the 25 sensors in all, and it's got them. And this is what we were going to be using for our telemetry. So if I just return to the main screen now, one final last bit in the ELRS menu. Now we need to set our packet rate. No matter what we do, there's several different ways you can do this. We can use 100 Hertz full. We've got to use one of the full ranges, or we can use 333 full. Please bear in mind, look at this BPS. This is the bytes per second that's running for telemetry. Now, this technology has stemmed from drone technology. Bear in mind, we're not racing, we're not flying at distance, we're not flying at bandos through chimneys and around cranes. So we don't need the full capabilities of this system. So what we can do is, I'm currently running at 100 and 1/4. If you have a look here, it says 1881 BPS, and that's the bytes per second. And if you go to 333 and you go to 1/8, you get 3219. You can sometimes run at 1/16, which if you can get 1/16 running, that's brilliant, because that's 15,546 BPS, sorry. So that's quite good, but you will find you get sensor losses. I'll talk about that a bit more in the sensor. So I'm setting mine up at the moment at 100, 1/4. Again, this might change my preference. Play around with that. And on the switch mode, before, everyone was using 16/2 because we had to, but that's not the way anymore. We want to set it to 12 channel mixed. It's not letting me change it because I'm connected to the, well, it's on there anyway. It's because I'm connected to the helicopter. And right, go into other devices as well. And bearing in mind, like I'm saying about, we don't need the strength because we're not flying drones. Telemetry power, we can adjust this, and I recommend that you stick to 10 milliwatts, the lowest possible. We're flying in line of sight. 10 milliwatts, I'm flying perfectly well with it. My preferred receiver is the RP2, and that's stuck at 10 milliwatts, and I've not had any problems with it. And that's the one I recommend out of all of them, to be honest. But this is just about setup and not what I recommend. So that's pretty much it for programming. So all that's left now is, obviously we've got quite a blank screen there. So I can go over, show you how to add some widgets, some special functions and sensors and timers. So I'll go through each of them at one stage at a time, but that's the basics. That's everything running up as it should be. And yeah, let's get into some other chapters. All right, before we go any further, we'll check everything's working within the software, and we'll do a stick calibration and everything at the same time. And as I've said before, doesn't matter if you're flying a scale bird or the FW450, the programming is exactly the same. It's just the software does different things. So what we do is we just connect the helicopter up quickly, and you'll probably see the flight controller change, actually the software change. So if we press connect and then we go into there, that's what FW450 will show at the moment, GPS ATI acro, and it will show return to home here. But when it clicks to the scale any second, there you go, that's now coordinated turn, and instead we got home GPS ATI. That's the only difference. The difference is in the software, not in the programming. So we check all our switches are working properly. So we got this one is coordinated turn, and as we can see, coordinated turn is working properly. This one is our flight modes. Top position is home, middle position is GPS, bottom position is ATI, so that's all working as it should. This switch here is our rates, so we've got soft, standard and sport, which is exactly how it should be. And then we got our motor run switch. I actually like motor stop, motor off, but it's the wrong way around. So if we want to change it from being the wrong way around, we just go back into our TX, you select model, and we go into our mixes page. And then if we go down to ARM, which is channel 7, we select that, press edit, and just as before, we select on the weight, and we go to -100 to move this bar. And as you can see, we just go like that, -100. So that should have now reversed the switch. So if we look on the software, motor run, motor off, which is exactly what I wanted to achieve. So if you check your sticks again as well, you've got your collective up and down, which is working correctly, and you've got your tail left and right working correctly, and your aileron left to right working correctly, and then it's your forward and backwards on the elevator. So as you can see, everything's working as it should. If we just go into this section here and press start calibration, and then what we want to do is just move our sticks to all corners, and that's that calibration done. If toggle all of your switches into each position, and that's the programming done. And then if you click to write to parameters just here, and then it will say calibration has been completed. So if we come back out of there now, we can check this on our helicopter as well. Look at the flight mode light on the LED, that's return to home. We have GPS and we have ATT. Because we're away from ATT now, let me excuse the camera. There you go, you can see the swash moving as it should, forward and back, left and right, and then the collective up and down. So everything's working as it should. If we put the sticks down and out, it should unlock it. There you go, unlock. So we know everything's working. The motor will probably run as well. So as long as everything's doing like that, if you need a reverse switches, I've shown you how to do it. So we're good to carry on to the next stage. Right, I'll just touch on sensors now before we go into setting up any widgets, because you want a better understanding of what the sensors actually do. Right, if we go back down to the screen and we press our model button, And then we want the telemetry page, which is the very last one on the end. And as you can see there, we've got a multitude, we've got 25 sensors. So if we come back out of there, and I'll take you over to the computer screen, and this is a list of all the sensors here. They're pretty self-explanatory. If you look 1 to 3, they're just roll and yaw and pitch angles. There's your receiver link, antenna, should you have a 2, antenna, receiver, diversity, your signal to noise ratio, which antenna is active out of these 2, diversity, and then you got your radio frequency mode with packet rates, your TX link quality, that is, your telemetry transmit power, telemetry signal strength, ground speed, telemetry to signal noise ratio, your altitude, your GPS sats, your vertical speed, current draw, capacity, battery percentage. This one doesn't really work. Instead, we use RX back to know what the battery is on the Heli, GPS, your magnetic heading, GPS calculated altitude, and your flight modes. So there's all your sensors. That's a quick rundown what they do, and utilize whatever ones you want. But one thing I will recommend is, you don't have to do this, but this is something I'm going to do to lighten the load on the system. If you've got any that you're not going to use, I'm personally not going to use that one, for instance. So if I just select that one, and then I would go down to delete and delete it. The reason for this is when you constantly get sensor loss warnings on your TX, half the time it's a sensor you're not using. What's the point in having a GPS ground sensor looking for information if you're not using it? So once you've set up your widgets and you know which ones you're using, I would highly recommend go through the list and get rid of the ones that you're not using. And then it's just going to lessen the amount of sensor loss, telemetry loss. And then you might be able to bump your packet rate to 333 1/16 because there isn't so many sensors that it's looking for. Just a bit of advice, you don't have to do it, but I personally I'm going to be using 4 to 5 sensors at most, so the rest will get deleted. So just a bit of advice. But if we go on now, I'll show you how to set up some widgets. All right, time to put some widgets on the screen so we can get some telemetry and just make it like a little bit more interesting because there's not much going on at the moment. So if we go into our telemetry on the screen, and then on the top bar, this is the widgets on your top bar. The second one is your main widgets. You can select different layouts along that list, but I'll just stick with that one for ease of use. So for example, if we were to use this one and I wanted to put stick outputs, as you can see, there's lots of different ones. Most of them, again, are self-explanatory, date and time. So, and a lot, the ones that you probably don't understand are part of the drone world, so they don't really concern us. But if I wanted to do outputs, so I get my stick movement, I press outputs and then just press return. And now in that widget, I've got all my stick movements and outputs, and they will all move accordingly. Say in one of these outputs, in one of these widgets, you wanted to put a timer, then you just go down through here and timer 1. This will need a bit more setting up, but I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But that's how you roughly put your widgets on. Sorry, the camera keeps zooming in and out. If I go to that one and you wanted to put a rotary dial or something for your GPS speed, so then you would go like that, and I want GPS ground speed, I believe. Sorry, telemetry sensor, and if we could put GPS speed and then return, and then look, we get a little dial and it will give us a GPS speed and everything like that. So that's another widget you can put on there if you want. At any time, just press it to remove it if you don't want it. So there you go, there's the basics of that. Go through that yourself, play with it and utilize it to your own benefit. So that's sort of the main screen widget setup. Now if I press telemetry again and go to the top bar, this one here, just let it select it and then set up widgets, and now we've got all the ones on the top bar that we can set up. And for example, when we set these ones up, if we just click on that, and this time I want a sat count, so I want the value of the sensor. So if I press value and then go to source and go to telemetry, so I want the source for sat, so I'll get a sat count for example. So if we go, there's the sats. If I press sat and I press return, and all of a sudden now we would get a sat count up in this top left hand corner. I'll give you another example. This is how I normally set up mine, to be honest with you. So if we go to value again, and then we go there and we press sensor because we want a sensor. So I would do my RX quality and my TX quality. So if I select RX quality and then press return, I've now got RX quality. And the same here again, it will be value, and I want my TX quality instead. So go to sensors and look for TX quality. There you go. TX quality return. So now I've got two widgets on the top showing me my RX and my TX. And then I'll just fill this box as well just to show you, and it'll be another value. All right. Go to value. Go to telemetry sensors, and now I want RX bat. So I know what the helicopter battery is. There we go. Sorry, done it wrong again. RX bat. We don't want minus or negative. Each sensor's got 3. Look, you got RX bat, and then your lowest reading and your highest reading. I just want a reading now. So press that and press return, and there you go. I got 15.4 volts on my helicopter. So we go back now and see how different that screen's changed now in just a couple of minutes, really. So we now got inputs. We've got a bit of telemetry up there and a timer. So yeah, that's your basic widgets all set up, and now we can move on to setting up some special functions and a timer. They all require different things, but that's your basic telemetry. Like I said, utilize it to your own benefit and do it however you want. All right, now we've got our screen set up. I'll show you how to do some special functions, put some voice commands on the switches, and be able to turn on your timer and reset it, etc, etc. So let's just jump into the timer first and get that sorted. So what we want to do is go into model, and then we want to go down to timer 1 because we put timer 1 on the widget screen. So I'm not going to give it a name, and what we do, we want it to turn on. I want it to turn on when I press my motor run. So if I press motor run, for me that's SE up, and press that. 8-minute timer will do for me for now, and then you can count down, count up. You can have it count out every minute. So there you go, play with the timer. That's your basics. So if we go to the front screen now, and as you can see, my timer is counting down because motor run switch is on, and if I press that, the timer stops and the timer starts again. So now I will show you, we will put a reset switch on that timer. So if we go over to special functions and add a special function, number 1, and what we want to do is I'm going to use my momentary switch here to reset the timer, which is that one. So if we go back into the screen, my momentary switch is SF down. I want to use that to reset. So find reset, which is there, and I want it to reset timer 1 and enable it. So every time I press that now, my timer 1 will reset. Not only that, if we can set a voice command to that. So if I go SF2, the same trigger, my momentary switch down, and SF down function. Now I want it to play a track. So the track I want it to play is timer 1. So if we go, it's going to be quite a way down to the bottom. Here we go. If we select timer 1, and then in this box, you want to really select an exclamation mark in front of the 1 times. Otherwise, when you start your TX, it will tell you the position of every switch. So, and then enable that and return. So if we go back now and we go back to the main screen, we've got our timer. Our timer's counting down. We can stop it, and now this is now timer reset, and it should have a voice command.
Timer 1 reset.
Timer 1 reset, and it's reset. So there you go. That's the timer all sorted with a voice command. And I'll just quickly show you the voice commands again. I'll program in one switch so you can see exactly what's going on here. So if we press MDL and then go into special functions, return to that. I want to add another one, special functions 3. So on my motor run switch, motor run is in that position, and then again I want it to play a track. And if we go into the model file, M section, motor arm, exclamation mark, and enable motor armed. We'll do the reverse, we'll do it again. So special function for when we're in disarm state. Oh, sorry. If we're in disarm state, we're on that switch, and then we want to play track again, play track like that, and we're going to want a motor off speech. So motor off, again, go back one, and enable motor off. So now when we go back, you should be able to see that we got motor armed, motor off, and at the same time the timer will stop. So we've got many functions in that movement, and then we've got that one which is timer 1 reset. So there's a quick rundown of how to do special functions, programming all your switches independently. I'm not going to show you how to do each one, but yeah, that's how to do that, and I'll show you next how to do some other bits. Right, these are the last two little tricks for you. I'm going to show you quickly, if you want to, how to turn that into a volume dial if you want, and how to set an alarm for your RX battery. So when your helicopter is due to return to home, you can set a voltage alarm. So if we start off, if we go into system and we go over to global functions, there's global functions there. And if we just press plus, global function 1, trigger, we want this to say on because it's our volume that we want to turn on. So that's the function we need, is on, and then function is going to be volume, and if I turn the S2 dial, it will pick it up down here, S2, and then I can press that and enable it, and that's literally all you have to do to get a volume button. So if I return out of that screen now, if you see the speaker, you can see the bars going up and down, and it will get across with muted. So that's how you set up a speaker. And now if we just go into the model section, we can set up an RX alarm. So if we just go into, right, we need a logical switch for this. So add a logical switch 01. So function, we want a less than x. It's a value less than a value sort of thing. A function less than a value. So we want the RX battery sensor. So if we find that down the bottom of the list, there it is, RX bat. So if we set this at 15.2 volts, that's Flywings return to home voltage. That's standard. If you've got plenty of battery left, maybe drop down to 15. That's entirely up to you to trial and error. And then that's pretty much all we have to do for that. You can put a delay in if you want, just for voltage spikes, but I haven't found out I needed it yet. So that's all that done. And now you've done that, we just go across. We need to set up an audible warning for when that LO1 gets triggered. So special function 5, and we want the trigger, as mentioned, to be LO1. So when we get a warning from LO1, we want it to speak to us. There's LO1. So if we go to play value, it will speak us the exact value and the value of the RX battery. That's what we want to hear. This is down the bottom of the list again, and RX battery. And you can repeat it, and you can get it to repeat it every 10 seconds, for instance, and then enable it. So now you will get an audible warning when your RX battery gets below 15.2 volts. I don't know what we're on at the moment, 15.3. So if I just go back to that logical switch a sec and press that, edit. So if I put that to 15.4, see, there you go. You get your audible warning, and you'll get that every 10 seconds or whatever you set it to. So that's how to set that alarm. There you go, every 10 seconds, like I said. So I'll turn that back down to 15.2, and that's how you set that alarm as well. So there you go. That's just about all of those functions done. So I'll just move on to a recap at the end, and thank you very much. Right, so we're there at last. Well, we've just about covered everything. We've covered all our channel mapping, our ELRS, timers, special features. We've set alarms. Now you have everything you need and more to get yourself flying. So thank you for sticking with me so far. If you've stuck with me this long, you obviously needed it and you're starting afresh. There's so many nuances and it's so awkward when you don't know what you're doing. But I just thought I'd gather all my information and share it for the likes. So don't forget the thumbs. If you're not subbed, keep subbed for some updates, because if anything changes along the way, I'll update you immediately. And soon I've been trialing different receivers like this this Beta FP Super V. I've been trying the RP3H, and I've been trying the little Nano RP2 as well. So stay tuned, guys. So I will be doing reviews of all these and my final opinions with them working in the Flywing helicopters. But thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Happy flying. Don't forget, check everything over. Make sure your heli's safe to fly. Make sure everything functions properly before you take off. But I hope that is of benefit to you, and thank you again for sticking with me. Happy flying and stay safe. Or don't forget, thumbs up.